Atlético de Madrid is not a small, helpless club, and this narrative needs to stop being spread. But you already know why. In this video, you will see numbers and memories that show that compared to Barcelona and Real Madrid, Atlético de Madrid cannot be considered such an underdog. Come with me now. Remember, if you enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel, like, and comment, it will help us a lot. In recent years, you've surely gotten used to the narrative that Atlético de Madrid is the underdog of Spanish football because they often try to compete but end up being overshadowed both on the field and in the media by Real Madrid and Barcelona, which are indeed more popular, more successful, and more traditional teams. But the story is told as if Atlético de Madrid were a poor team with no money to invest, a team that never wins titles or signs important players, almost as if it were a team that survives with neighborhood players. But that's not the case. Atlético de Madrid is a team that often competes head-to-head with Barcelona and Real Madrid and deserves much more respect and, at the same time, much more scrutiny, and I'll show you why. Since the beginning of Diego Simeone's era in 2011, there's always been this narrative that Atlético de Madrid is the underdog, the black sheep. But it's not quite like that. They're not as far behind Barcelona and Real Madrid as it seems. The thing is, Barca and Real are the media teams, the teams that sell both in terms of image and football worldwide, that's a fact. But on the field, is Atlético really that far behind? I'll show you that they are not. Besides having a first-world structure and the same coach for 13 years, Atlético de Madrid often goes into the market and spends rivers of money. And when I say rivers of money, I mean it because, on some occasions, Atlético de Madrid spends even more than Barcelona and Real Madrid. In this transfer window alone, we have a perfect example. Real Madrid invested €57 million to sign 2 players, Barcelona invested €47 million to sign 2 players, and Atlético de Madrid spent €183 million to sign 4 players. Of these €183 million, they invested €75 million just in Julián Álvarez, who was at Manchester City. And here's another important point, it's not that Atlético usually signs players from smaller teams within Spain. No, Atlético, with the money they have, goes after players who play for other important teams. For example, Julián Álvarez, who was recently at Manchester City, a team that has won the Premier League 4 times in a row. In the past, they signed João Félix when he was a great prospect at Benfica, contested by other teams. They even signed Gallagher this week, who was at Chelsea, one of the most important teams in England. So, it's not that they build their team with smaller players from within Spain, they sign players who even play for international teams. Looking at other seasons, in terms of spending, Atlético de Madrid spent €127 million on João Félix when he was at Benfica, €72 million on Thomas Lemar when he was at Monaco, and €35 million on Matheus Cunha when he was in German football. So, the question is it a lack of money or a lack of strategy? To me, it seems that the key difference between Atlético de Madrid and Real Madrid and Barcelona is in the strategy of building the squad. Atlético often spends excessively on players who don't make that much of a difference to the team, at least from my perspective. Meanwhile, Real and Barcelona have become more precise, with Real Madrid being extremely assertive lately. Real Madrid's project convinces many players to sign with the club for free. Examples include Mbappé, Alaba, and Rudiger, who didn't arrive with a transfer fee but because their contracts with their clubs had ended. Atlético de Madrid doesn't have that persuasive power. And one thing that many don't notice is that Atlético de Madrid is always competing, always fighting for titles. It's not a team that signs players and doesn't succeed. As I said, because they have a structure, because they've had the same coach for a long time, because they sign good players, Atlético is a team that's always causing trouble. Under Simeone's management, they won La Liga twice, so they aren't such an underdog after all. They won in 2013-14 and 2020-21. They also won the Spanish Super Cup in 2014, the Copa del Rey in 2012-13, two-time Europa League champions, winning in 2011-12 and 2017-18, and two-time UEFA Super Cup champions, winning in 2012-13 and 2018-19. And for just a matter of minutes, Atlético de Madrid didn't win the Champions League. They reached the final twice in the last 10 years and lost both times to Real Madrid. And it's not that they lost because they were outplayed, nothing like that. In one of the finals, Atlético scored 1-0, and then Real Madrid tied it at the last minute with Sergio Ramos. In the other final, Atlético de Madrid had a penalty that Griezmann ended up hitting the crossbar. So, Atlético is not as far behind Barcelona and Real Madrid as the media makes it seem. A team with these achievements and these campaigns cannot be considered a small, helpless club. Let's be fair. So, what I'm saying is not that Atlético de Madrid should be treated as the big favorite because they aren't. But they deserve to be treated more equally for everything they've done, the work they've built, and the money they've invested. If football today is about money and Atlético de Madrid is putting money on the table, then they should be scrutinized too. When Barcelona spends a lot, City spends a lot, Chelsea spends a lot, PSG spends a lot, and doesn't win anything, we talk about it here, so we need to talk about Atlético de Madrid too. Now, I want to know your opinion in the comments about everything I've said about Atlético de Madrid. Do you agree? Do you disagree? It's important for you to share your opinion too, so we can discuss it. So, folks, this was Saturday's video. I deeply appreciate your company in another video on the channel. Don't forget, if you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share, comment, and follow me on my social media too. So that's it, folks, see you tomorrow, and see you in the next video. Stay with God and have a great weekend.